Wouldn't it be amazing if there was like a summer camp except for adults?
How whimsical are we talking?
Oh, all of the whimsy.
You're looking for Hot Alien Summer Camp 2024. It's their third annual event at Starstruck Farms in Lebanon, Tennessee. You just come with an open heart to embrace a magical weekend. There's live entertainment, energy healing, art, and all kinds of workshops.
And I heard Karen Rontowski and Ryan Singer are returning once again to grace the stage with some cosmic comedy. Also, look forward to live music and the Makers Market, where you'll find handmade, consciously created art to pique all of your whimsical curiosities.
Visit the website at hotaliensummercamp.com, where pre-sale tickets are live now. There's lots to discover on the website, including past events, an email newsletter, and a lively Discord community.
And don't forget to check out the Alien Auction, where goodies and readings will be up for bidding. The auction starts March 24th and culminates with an all-day live stream event on March 31st. So I'll be seeing you August 8th through 11th at Hot Alien Summer Camp. Namaste!
Stay tuned after the episode for more information.
Oh, well, what was I supposed to say? Oh, we're not doing the intro.
That works.
Oh, Rick, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Wow, what an intro.
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in writing these intros before.
Oh, man. Super humbled.
Well, we're humbled to have you. Thanks for joining us tonight. And welcome to season 2 of Interviewing Aliens.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, even though you've been here since season
0,
since it started. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, how far back can this go?
You know what? I was just looking at Rick and I's history today, and he was one of the first people I connected with in AOD and the AOD community, and ever since it's just been a beautiful connection. So thank you.
We should talk about how this happened.
Yeah, I'd love to. How did you find the AOD Jessa Reed alien community?
I want to say it was 2021, I think. I don't know how it came into my life. I think I might have heard her on a different podcast, blah, blah, blah. But then, looking back, it was perfect timing. I guess, yeah, we got swept up in that kind of, I wasn't there for the beginning with Soberish, but yeah, I mean, I got swept up and I tried to show people and they were like, this is ridiculous. What are you showing this? And then she had that thing too, where she's like, don't show this to people.
Yeah, this is for you.
Yeah. And then I fell right in and joined the Discord and did the Patreon, and I'd never done that before. Same. As a fan of someone,
Mm-hmm.
And I really needed it. I think I was asleep. I had been asleep for a while, and that was part of my awakening, my reawakening,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is maybe the second time, maybe the third time, the third awakening,
Yeah.
And then
when was the first time? What was that like?
I think the first one was it was 2012, and even before that, no, I was reading about the end of the Mayan calendar in 07, 08. I came across it somehow and was fascinated by it. And then as I got deeper into it, I came across the Pleiadian channeled texts.
Mm.
And that was the thing, actually. that was, I think the Mayan calendar was the reason to get me started, but then the purpose was to get into the Pleiadian channeled text. And then once I found that, it was like, I felt like I had found the truth, and that was like my Bible. Not to self-promote, but like just barely started doing these videos on Instagram and like TikTok about, and like just kind of just saying parts of the book in as like short videos. And it was written in the 80s, and it's like everything makes sense now is the crazy part. Anyway, so that was 09, 2010.
Those videos are killer, by the way.
Yeah.
Love
And
them.
Rick, for the record, the whole point of interviewing aliens is to self-promote. So
Yeah, please.
do it, man.
Yeah.
Toot, toot, toot
Well,
your
I think
horn.
we could save it for later, but no, thank you for that. I'd like to, I mean, we don't have to talk about it right now, but like, I do want to hear your feedback just later, because I want to, like, I think that's what I want to be doing for the social media. So like, I want to really refine it and get feedback. But anyway, so that was 2011, 2012. And I went down the YouTube rabbit hole back when it was like the hits. It was like JFK and 9/11 and like the original YouTube conspiracy theories, like Loose Change. I remember that movie on YouTube.
Gonna add that to the list.
It might be, I think it's gone now. Well, because then it became Zeitgeist. I don't know if you ever saw those. But no, and then, yeah, it was like, I had the Dark Night of the Soul, really dark moment of like, it was like the JFK assassination and 9/11, and like, it hit me like emotionally. And that was like the awakening. It was like, then I got really cynical, and I was like a dick, and I was an asshole most of the time. And like, the news sucks. Like, don't listen to the news. You know, I was that guy.
I went through that.
Get off my lawn. So, and then I became a prepper, blah, 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 you know, like the whole thing. And then I think around 2017, I'd gotten divorced, and I was like newly single. So it was like, that was crazy. But maybe that was just a part of it too. 'Cause I did ayahuasca for the first time in 2016, and then fast forward like 9 months, and then I moved out. But I'd never like really connected those two. Anyway,
Having epiphanies tonight.
so I became a prepper, and then I fell asleep, and then I'd gotten really disillusioned with spirituality and wellness and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was kind of bullshit, and I felt kind of dumb, and it is like the whole hero's journey, I feel like.
1000%.
And then she hit me. Yeah. Then it like, I came across her, and then I woke up back up again, you know? And
Wow.
I want to say this for the record too, because like, then me and you meet through talking about stuff on the Discord.
Mhm.
And then you have the history of the actual time, but like, I forgot when it was exactly. Maybe like October or something of 2021.
Yeah, our first like DMs, when you hit me and then DMs, was in August, the beginning of August 2021.
Okay.
And then we got like super close September, October.
Okay. And then that's where we had the idea for the alien school field trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then you all went
What
off
was
and
the
did it.
we were the PTA members. You remember what the PTA stood for?
No.
Oh, come on.
I know. What was it?
We were the original PTA. It's the Palladian Teachers Association.
Oh, yes, exactly.
That role still exists on the
I love it.
summer camp Discord. Yeah.
I just remember like so anyway, so we have the idea, start talking about it. I start making like just fake timelines, or like a schedule, and just kind of like really kind of visioning it out with like a fake map of like what the layout could be. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was like, looking back, I think that was actually that part for me was really helpful to just kind of be inspired to like create a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But you all went and did it, and it was amazing. And I had to miss the first year, but it really is like all of you. That's really where I feel like that's where my kind of contribution ended.
No,
you went and ran with
stop it.
Okay, well, I don't know. This is how I feel about it. Like, but I love what it is. And when I went this for the first time back in August of this year, it was like really life changing because I met my people. You know, we had never met in person. It had been like,
which is crazy to me because we spent hours and hours and hours on the phone together.
Yeah. All of that stuff, man. It was, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you were there the whole time, Rick, like from the very beginning. And so to like see you there and in person and you doing your damn thing and making connections, like it's so beautiful.
I mean, long before you and I met, Rick, you were a bit of a legend to me. Like I heard stories about the planning sessions and, you know, everything that went into the first event that I wasn't there for as well, you know. So you're definitely there.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
I love all of you, and I love that we got to meet, and it does feel like it was for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to be meeting again, you know?
Yeah. Probably by the time this comes out, we'll probably like be together.
Oh, yeah, shit. Oh,
We're
wow.
going to Orlando to plan for some other things that we've got coming up. So,
That's right.
Hey, I thought it was about my self-promotion on this podcast.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
You've kind of covered this, but where are you like right now in your healing journey? You know, what do you see? You know, what are you working towards? What are your next steps in healing, do you think? What's calling to you?
This is a great question. Thank you. Okay, so I'm living in a small townhouse right now. I'm single. Broke up with my girlfriend, by the way, the day after I got back from summer camp. And it just needed to happen. And that would give me the courage to really go through with it. Anyway, I realize I'm in like this kind of hermit mode right now, kind of on purpose, it feels like, but not on my purpose. Like I just follow along, but like being in this like small townhouse in this kind of like in between phase in my life, I feel like I'm gonna really like I need to be a hermit. And so that question is really what I'm into a lot right now. Taking this 9-month course about the nervous system and like somatic reparenting to become like a facilitator and like really get trained. So I guess answering your question, where I'm in my healing journey is I'm stepping into my powers and like dealing with the fear around doing that. But at the same time, like understanding how deep, you know, my specific trauma went in the different ways that it did and how it branched out through my whole life. And I feel like I'm done being resentful about it. And I just want to move on and do my own thing. So it's kind of like both. It's like digging in to what's really down there, but also maturing in the way that I can, like, I believe myself to be some kind of healer person, or at least I have these gifts and I should be using them and like being responsible with them and serving with them, you know, and not just kind of like treating them like parlor tricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of our listeners who don't know what your like specialties are. Why don't you tell people, you know, what are you known for? What do you do?
Okay, I do right now. God, I have like, you know, I have 5 jobs, which I guess is my human design. I'm a multi-hyphenate, but I work at Capital One. That's my full-time job. I teach these graduate students on the side. And then I do sound baths like on the other side, like the third side. And so I started just doing it 2 years ago this month. I just had a vision about how they should be done one day when I was meditating. And it was like the image of me sitting down on some kind of stage in front of people, and I'm like singing a note, and I'm ringing a quartz bowl, and then there's music playing. And so that was like 2018. And so I just started moving towards that again. And like back then it was kind of like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And then so like, but after so much time, I think because of Jessa and like when her podcast hit me that time, it was like, okay, actually this is really cool and I like it and I should pursue it. So I bought some bowls and I started practicing, and then I just called up a place that I like went to as a gym, and they had a yoga room, and I was like, hey, can I do a sound bath there? And they're like, what's that? And I told them, and then they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And that process ended up like, I'm an employee at that place now, but it's just to have the free membership so I can like come once a month and do a sound bath. But I'm still doing it. Like, it's been 2 years at the same place, and I started branching out now to other places and doing sound bath. And so what people have said about them is like it put them in this really great meditative state like pretty quickly. And I think having those frequencies washed together with the music and the bowls and the toning, like having it all blend together ends up being super relaxing. And so and then like I had my astrology chart read, and the person was like, your voice is really important, like the sound of it, not just like what you're saying. And it sounds like, I don't know, man, and so I think my voice has a part in it, and I found it to really be natural. So I'm just going to like dig deeper into what that is. And like, thinking about wellness right now is it's very confined and kind of like siloed. And there isn't like this, there's like music concerts, and then there's yoga stuff, and there's other things like ecstatic dance and stuff. But I think like kind of opening up wellness and this type of stuff to be on a larger stage, or like, I think there could be like a really cool performance aspect to it with like lights and colors, and, you know, make it more of this kind of concert experience, but it's wellness. Like you come away super relaxed is what I'm going for.
I think it's effective.
Thank you.
Based off of my personal experience.
Yeah, I've only experienced it live once at camp. And I know you performed a couple times. I'm sorry I missed them, but that last day when we were all in the spiral and you were playing, it was definitely very easy to slip into that meditative state, like you said, you know.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing.
Really cool. Yeah, it was really cool to experience.
Thank you. That was another dream came true at the camp, because like I had been what I really want to do with sound baths too is get the crowd involved and do a group toning. And in the first night we all get there at the camp, and I forgot how it came about. Did you put me in the schedule or something?
Yeah.
There was like an opening schedule thing with Kelly, and anyway, I got to do it. I got to do a group toning thing. People laid the circle, and it was like Elijah, I think, was the one that like really got into it and was like, hey, we all need to get in this. It was amazing to just experience that. It was like, it like set the tone.
Just thinking of it.
Just the idea of this is a place where like stuff happens, you know, like magic really did happen there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Having the opportunity to do that, you know, was the magic.
That's the beautiful thing about this, like that event and this community is like, if you're into it, there's probably a whole lot of other people that are into the same thing, and everybody is going to want to play and hang out and do the thing that you're doing. And to be able to witness that, like the first night right off the bat, is all these people coming together in this beautiful gazebo space by the bonfire, and everybody's, oming and, in this beautiful energy. Oh, loved it.
Well, I just also like Kelly as the camp lady.
Yeah, she's the face.
Was perfect.
She's the face of camp for sure. Yeah. We love you, Kelly.
We all got to be weird together in our own way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's why we wanted to get together in the first place. Is we all just wanted to get together and be ourselves and see what happens.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Back in the day when it was just me, you, and Matt and Stefania wanting to go camping, Oh, how far we've come. So I know you've come a long way in your spiritual practices from when we first met to now. Do you have daily practices? Is there something that you do on a daily basis, or do you have a weekly ritual or anything that you like to work with?
I just started doing breath work in the mornings. The last couple weeks, I think. Breathe with Sandy on YouTube. His guided breathwork channel. It's really great. And I finally, finally kind of cracked for me, or I figured out. I was able to get enough oxygen going that when I let it all out and held it, you really do get this really blissful, meditative, quiet state. It's been really awesome. And then I do this thing. It's spinning because I got it. This goes back to the Pleiadians, the book. It's called Bringers of the Dawn is the book. In the book, it says there's 3 things that they say about for humanity is the nervous system is the key to being able to receive the energy coming in from the cosmos. So basically clearing out your nervous system so that those electrical currents could come in is really important. And
this is such a huge thing, dude.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk all about it because that's what we'll come there next.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then in the book too, they say a breathwork practice is really important. It's crucial to get oxygen in your body. And then the third thing they said was you could try spinning, where you hold your hands in front of your chest together and you spin left to right 33 times. And that's it. And then they were if you can do that 3 times a day so that you're spinning 99 times, they're we'll see if you can stay in this dimension. And I don't know what that means, but I haven't gotten that far. But I do a breathwork thing and then I spin 33 times in the morning. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to do.
I'm about to find out.
Yeah. But I have started feeling really just, centered, choosing to not drink, not out of shame, but of nah, I just don't feel like it. It's been a big deal for me. I think that's attributed to having that practice. I started doing this thing too, just for December. For me personally, a lot of stuff happens for me in January, right around the start of the year. And it's almost that's kind of my wishing time. If I had the wishes that I wanted and I put them out in January, they're going to happen, or they have much more likely. So right now I'm just kind of clarifying what I want to ask for next year and really writing it down as a journaling practice. So that's it. That's the other part too. Okay. Cause we can jump into the nervous system or we can jump into parasitic cleanses. Cause that's the next thing I want to get into, or personally as a practice.
Let's talk about that then, though.
Just the idea that we have physical parasites in our bodies and emotional ones too. There's a guy on the internet called Josh Mason And he developed this like detox program through his own personal journey of being really sick for like years. And he just sends these pictures in the email sometimes, like in his like email list of just worms and shit in the toilet. People like just pooping out worms once they've gone through this process, and just parasites like stuck in our gut. I think it makes a lot of sense. I remember one time I did a 5-day fast like a couple years ago. And the craziest thing about that was after the 3rd day, I stopped like criticizing myself. All of my negative thoughts just went away. And it was just kind of like, it wasn't so much the fasting, it was like the lack of the food that does it, you know, like that feeds whatever those things are. And to have this idea that your mental health and like the way what your thoughts are and the quality of them is related to your gut and your food that you eat was really crazy.
100% believe in the whole parasite thing for sure. And I've been wanting to do a cleanse for a while now. Elliot and I have been talking about it. But I specifically believe that there is a Diet Coke parasite. A parasite that Diet Coke carries that makes you think to yourself, I don't need water. I just need more Diet Coke.
So weird.
Because
my mom, my boss, they all just like, that's all they drink.
Yeah.
Like, how are you alive?
I was that way for a long time too. And then I got away from it and I was like, oh, I crave water now all of a sudden. And then like a couple weeks ago, I was just passing by a soda machine and I bought a Diet Coke. I drank it and all I wanted was more Diet Coke. And I was like looking at water. I was like, disgusting. And yeah, I think there's something in it, man.
I do too. I think you're right.
The aspartame, you think?
I was just talking about
Yeah, it's the aspartame parasite. That's what it is.
Damn, dude.
Specific to Diet Coke. They had like a strain of it that's around because it's so weird. It's such a weird thing.
You know what could be though? Also like the natural flavors, because that's all they get to say. But it could be
what are they?
They don't say what they
is
are.
That?
Like,
what does that mean?
There's this whole. It's so funny too. Like I watched the 60 Minutes episode one time, and they went into the food. It was like the food flavoring industry, and it was like one of the most secretive places, and they couldn't tell you like who their clients were or like all this stuff. And we just kind of like, wow, that's like so secret. And then I found out that like most of the cheap whiskey you buy is just the same bulk whiskey, but they just repackage it. And it's like flavored and shit. And it's just not even, anyway.
Oof.
Sorry. That was
a scary road to go down.
Yeah. Sorry. Let's go back to aspartame shit.
Yeah.
No, like I swear, man, I feel like the food companies are acting like the tobacco companies were in the 90s and just being like, this isn't addictive. What are you talking about? But like at some point we're going to have to like, I think really face it, that they've been creating these addictive foods.
We did a whole episode
about like the lady.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, it's
okay. The lady who, do you know how like kale became so big?
No.
It's like this one. It's not even like all that good. I mean, I'm going to get some hate on this, but whatever. Just like the kale was just like kale. It was like a garnish on plates in, the 80s and 90s. Like every plate had a garnish of kale on it. Nobody ate that shit. But like this woman got like hired for some PR position at some like company, and she just started like making like a fake campaign for kale, and it just blew the fuck up. And like that's how kale became so big and popular. It's not even like
that was kind of like swept up in the superfood craze, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
Then we kind of realized that
it's crazy.
Any vegetable is a superfood,
right? If you just eat a bunch of different you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah, sure. It's crazy. The campaigns are crazy. Like the food industry in and of itself has been like a weird thing this week. Is like I was like thinking about like the food pyramid and how like that was a whole like that's not like real human like concern really. Like that whole concept is just so wild.
I think all of our bodies are so unique. It's you can't really make
Yeah.
a general nutrition guideline.
Right. Yeah.
When you became awake or woke or woo or spiritual or whatever and you want to call it, did you feel like your diet changed like immediately, or like that you just didn't want to eat the same foods and drink the same things? Like, was that something for anybody else, or is it just me?
No, that definitely happened for me. 100%.
I think it kind of happened for me. Yeah. Yeah. I moved to, yeah. It wasn't this thing though, like, ew, never again. I don't know. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing. That for me, it was just like, oh, I need to stop eating out all the time. You know, like I need to just start cooking food at home and like using fresh produce, you know. Like like there is something to the like awakening process that part of it, I think of it has to be hacking your own nutrition and health, like what you eat.
Mm.
You have to figure out your own like style of consumption. I know human design has a whole thing about that, you know. And yeah, I can see myself moving towards that. It was subconscious for a long time, and it's becoming conscious now. You know, it's like I'm actively making changes at this point.
I think what has shown me a lot more is like my triggers or my like the ways that I cope. You know, my coping mechanism is like has always been around consuming. And so like that was something that hit me more of than the food itself. Was like, oh, I'm just eating just because I'm bored. Like I'm not hungry. When have I ever been hungry? You know, like it had been like this thing of like, I don't eat like for sustenance, like I'm addicted to it. And then like realizing that it's just like a trigger for like some other, you know, trauma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, I do want to say the word trauma is like thrown around way too much these days, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the way that I define it is it's really just unprocessed emotional experiences. And they could be really humongous or tiny, but if they don't get processed, then they just stick around. And
you start running the show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I realized like going through this nervous system class that I've just been in fight or flight my whole life, basically. And it was like started with my mom because she was in it and she had like anxiety all the time. And then it just kind of like wore off onto me. I don't know, man. And then like, I think it's where my ADD comes from too. Because when you're in fight or flight, like you are just focusing on the exact present moment and like looking around for possible threats. And it's just kind of like what I do now all the time for all this stuff. But then like, man, having kids like really ramped it up. And that's when I think it really actually was at a super high level. And then I haven't let it come down yet. Or like, you know, like sometimes I'll do it by accident, you know, because you have to physically move to really get it out. It has to come out of your body, like in a physical way.
Right. Yeah.
Can't just like meditate it away.
Right. Your body really do be keeping score.
Yeah.
Great book if you haven't read that yet.
I didn't.
Your body keeps score. I think that's the one common factor in a lot of our awakening stories is some sort of traumatic event that, you know, brought us all into this, you know, awareness and healing.
But it's certainly something that we all are like guaranteed to have in common is the fact that we do experience trauma. Like we do have, every human being has trouble processing, you know, heavy emotional events, you know?
Yeah. Existing in this world right now can be kind of traumatic. So
I think for a long time, it felt like those were things that we had to do alone because we didn't understand that other people went through them. But like the advent of the internet and just the insane open communication that's happening, it just became so clear so quickly that, oh, we are all full of trauma, you know?
Oh man.
My trauma sees your trauma, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one thing about the camp too. God, I met Jonathan at the first night's dinner and hadn't talked to him. In the first 5 minutes, he's telling me his divorce story and how he quit his job and walked out. And it was I'm here. These are my people. Oh my God. No small talk. And we just dove right in. And immediately I was like, this is amazing. Because I used to really hate small talk.
Yeah.
But I guess I still do. But it was just, yeah, if we can all be vulnerable like that, I think we'll all get along. We could all really benefit.
I know I've said this 7 million times. I'm going to say it one more, at least today. That the men and the masculine in this freaking community are so awe-inspiring and heartwarming and vulnerable and safe and incredible and beautiful. I will spend my last breath protecting and honoring the men and the masculine in this group. It's the most beautiful gift I've ever been given. I think so. Thank you guys.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Love you guys.
That's one thing in the book, in the Bearers of the Dawn, to talk about is that men must awaken the goddess within themselves. And we don't have an example right now of an empowered feminine figure. And at the same time, we don't have the heroic figure of an empowered feeling male. Was one of the things I talk about in the book. And part of that is men connecting with their feeling centers and really partnering with their divine feminine. But there's so much programming to get past just to get there.
I know that was something you were really passionate about when I first met you was, creating a safe space for a men's group to awaken their divine feminine. I thought that was so inspiring.
How do you feel about that, Jeff?
I think that it has been difficult to find other men in the spiritual space that I have felt are approaching it from a spiritual path way instead of I'm not sure how to say this. I'm so sorry. I feel like a lot of the men that I've run into in the spiritual space have been kind of obsessed with the power trip that you can get from all of it, the guru thing, and that's been a real turnoff to me as far as making male friends in the space. But joining Justice community and meeting people like you and Ryan, who we talked to recently, and the Creek Mason people, I'm just finding all of these great examples of divine masculine that are actually in it to win it, as a group, and that has been really inspiring to me. And you had talked previously in another conversation we had about the men's group that you were starting, and that did spark something in me, a feeling that, yeah, I probably need to be doing that wherever I end up settling, because there is a lot of power in having that, camaraderie that I've missed, and I've really been missing since camp. It was so nice to be surrounded by it and to come back to Birmingham where I am now and not really know anybody. It's been rough.
I think that I found there's a lot of people are going through the same thing, but they don't know where to go. My theory, totally unfounded, is that there's probably a lot of people like you around, like there is here too. I mean, but at the same time, it's been really hard to find those men. And we've tried to do this with our just little guys night group that we have, bringing new guys in, and it's just kind of he's not there yet. almost kind of thing, like, and it's hard to be judgy like that. But at the same time, like, it's important to surround yourself with people that build you up and you can talk to, and it is really hard to find. But like, yeah, at camp, that was beautiful. It was, I know what you mean too, Jeff. Like, yeah, there is like such a power trip thing. And there's this rash of like documentaries and podcasts about people going off to retreats and getting abused in some other way.
Yeah.
Like puts a whole bad name on the whole thing. But yeah, like I didn't even think about that, about all the guys in the camp. I felt like had awareness of their feminine and were okay with it and had worked through a lot of programming to get there. But at the same time, you're right. Like, we're all in it to win it. Like, we're genuinely care about this. We're not trying to make, And that was, I guess I kind of expected it in a way of like, I know these people are going to be legit and have integrity. It was really surprising, but like heartwarming. Yeah, totally. What you said, Tiffany.
Absolutely. I know that, a lot of women, I mean, even in our group, a lot of women are still nervous about, the masculine and, there's so many stories that you hear about it going wrong in a lot of other communities. And, even in some of people in our community have had experiences outside, but in kind of like a parallel situation where things have gone south really, really quickly because, the bad situations or whatever toxic kind of stuff. But like being in person with these people and like, seeing how people interact in, Jess's Discord and on our Discord virtually, and Krieg Mason's Discord also, if you haven't checked that out. Oh my God, so good. It's just like, it's so inspiring and beautiful and safe. Like, there's so many of us that just feel it's this sense of safety that we've never experienced with the masculine. So it's really, really incredible. I love your thoughts on bringing men together to heal those wounds and be vulnerable and open with each other. I think that's a very important space.
I had this, I think I've already told this story a bunch of times, but like when I did ayahuasca a couple years ago, remember this story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll try and be quick.
No, you're fine. Share it. I know it, but I bet lots of other people don't know it. Yeah, please share.
Okay. I went up there, of course, with like a totally different idea of what I wanted to accomplish or like, explore.
Mm-hmm.
But the, medicine had its own story. But like, so it took place over 3 nights, right? Like it's a kind of like a 3-act structure, and it gets deeper each night. So the first night, one of the things I was given, like a message, was the body is paired with the mind before birth, and the mind stuffs the body with alcohol and cigarettes and sugar and carbs in order to soothe itself, and all the body wants to do is dance. And that was like the first message. And then the second night, it became this thing about the body is just as conscious and alive as the mind is. It has its own dreams and character and personality and the things that it wants to do, but we've just gotten out of touch with how to speak to our body. And then it blossomed into this metaphor of a marriage between a man and a woman. And it was like the body was the wife and the mind was the husband, and I was the husband, and this was an abusive marriage. And I would shame my wife in front of the mirror, or I'd like use her for sex, and stuff it full of like unhealthy things, and then look at how fat it was in the mirror kind of thing. All this kind of stuff that I do to myself, but like this metaphor of the body was this wife, and after so many years of being ignored for what she wanted to do, she had just given up. And basically, like at this point in our marriage, which had been, 38 years at the time, was she had just sleeping in separate beds and like living in the basement kind of thing, like divorced but not divorced, because another one of the messages was like, till death do you part. Like, this is a marriage and you're in it all the way. You really are. You have to be,
Wow.
And so then I felt like, what's his name? Paul Blart, Mall Cop, the actor. Remember when he had that TV show and he was like
our Lord and Savior, Paul Blart.
Yeah, I know. In the words of Paul Blart. No, like Kevin James. I was Kevin James in that TV show when he had that hot wife and he's like this flubby ass, UPS guy, loser. I was that. And I had this beautiful wife that was amazing and just put up with me. And I was this kind of just idiot. And then it was like this realization of like, oh my God, I have been doing that. Like, I am the one at fault. Like I've been doing all this to you because of my own problems kind of thing. And then it was like, it became this couples therapy session where I was sitting in this room, with like, not like there was like an actual therapist, but like the idea of like being in a therapy room in like couples therapy and she had just finally said all these things of how like hurt she was and ignored and everything. And I finally heard it for the first time and like, it really hit me. And then I was like, okay, like I'm going to sit back and listen now. Like, tell me what you want to do. Like, let's fix this, And then the third night, because my intention that night was like, we're going to go on a couples retreat. We've done the couples therapy. Now we're going to go and like go on a vacation together. And I'm going to reconnect with my wife. And so medicine hits and and like at this point, like there's a dialogue now, like there's a body voice and a mind voice and we're like talking and the body voice is like, do some push-ups. And I'm like, I can't do that right now. We're like, there's a bunch of mats, like there's no room for that. And so she was like, do some push-ups. And I'm like, this isn't. And then she was like, motherfucker, if you want to do this, if you want to reconnect, do some fucking push-ups, and like yelled at me. And I had to get up and ask somebody to take me somewhere else and everything. And then like she lets me out from this room where there's like just like an open space. And I just started doing all of these really beautiful like dance moves and then yoga moves and like it was like, I don't know, I had kind of surrendered and I just let her do whatever she wanted. And I ended up doing a lot of this stuff that I'd never been able to do before. Like this, like a pigeon move. It was like the pigeon yoga move, but I could like arch my back really far back and like, it was all the stuff I'd never been able to do before. And so like, it was like 3 hours of just like moving around on ayahuasca. And like, I didn't feel like I was like stone cold sober. It was like, I just like perfectly heightened awareness, sober. And then like this kind of surrender move where like I was still in control, but I just allowed myself to just be totally intuitive. And it was just this like really beautiful, like a dance really. And then at the end of the night, like we really had reconnected and there's like this image, this video, it's like a film scene in my head. Right. And we're on this bench and she just like stands up and she's like, we've got stuff to do. Let's go do it, And then she like lifts off the ground and this like portal opens up behind her. And it was like I had realized how amazing, I had married this like just stunning and goddess of a woman and I had no idea, and it was just this sense of like seeing, and then later I realized like this is the masculine and feminine dynamic and like really like physically getting to embody that and explore it and let it have its space, really, it really affected me. But I still like mess up a lot as a partner. And, it's interesting to look at it that way. And so then that was like, at the end, it was like, it's called the first sacred union. Like that was a label for it.
That's really cool, man. I've had a similar experience on a pretty intense plant medicine journey that I had one time, where I became very aware that like my spirit and my body were, two beings trying to live together, very, very similar kind of idea. And like during that experience, I was able to like step outside of myself and question my body and have a conversation with it. And I got very similar feedback, it's like, hey, like I can only do what you tell me to do. And if you want me to function well, you have to start treating me with respect. And I was like, oh, okay, let's start doing that.
So what changed after that?
My diet changed big time. I started getting out more, started leaving the house more. That was really important. I had been kind of shut in for a while there. And yeah, like you said, one of the biggest things that changed for me was my diet, for sure. Like we were talking about earlier, like that was a big thing that had to change.
That's incredible, man. It's a humbling and rare experience to go through something like that. It's really powerful. And so it's kind of like, that was where I got the idea for the like men's group. It's kind of like, because that was the thing too. At the end of the third night, she like said like, my name is Mira. It was like this sense of, I earned the name,
Oh my God.
And it was really powerful. And so it was kind of like the idea of like, well, if we could do a men's group where they could find a way to do that and understand it as a marriage and come to some kind of realization. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm absolutely mush over here. It's so amazing. I'm loving this story. Oh my God.
That's kind of what, I think could happen with stuff at the camp. I mean, the thing is though, like, and that was the part about the masculine that kicked in for me being there was like, I wanted to protect it, but also like not close it in, like not limit it, but still protect it. And it was like,
yeah,
doesn't need to be humongous. It can be just as big as it needs to be. Like there's no reason to get ego involved and be like, this must be humongous. It was like, it needs to be as big as it needs to be. And that's, you just kind of like cultivate the roots in the dirt and see where it goes.
fair.
Right on, man.
But it did feel like just wanting to protect it and like invest in it. And that hits a lot of my So in this class, it's about reparenting. So you are going to your inner child and your inner teenager and all the different phases of you and like being the parent of that inner child of you. And as you started doing it, like my inner 5-year-old is basically like, I don't believe you. I don't think that you're going to do this. And that's kind of where it all starts for me, is not trusting myself in the sense of like letting myself down, but not just in this kind of easy way of like acknowledging it. It's like feeling what that means is when you want to actually do something, you don't believe it, at least from my experience. And so I had to go until and the crazy part too is like, it is a conceptual framework. Like you're imagining this little boy, for me, in my case at least, but then it becomes conscious. It's like,
Yeah.
it actually like has an identity. That was a trip, man. First time that happened.
Wow.
I don't even know what my inner teenager's like. I'm like, no, that's shit. What about you guys?
I just met my inner teenager this year, and that has been an experience for sure. Like within the last couple of months, really. I did a ton of inner child work. That's been incredible. The inner teen came through like, I don't know, June, July, maybe August. And that's just like that's a whole nother level, man.
What is inner teenager Tiffany like?
Oh God. It's, I mean, it's very much like, when you're a teenager, you see people our age and you're like, oh, they got their lives together, da 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 da. My life didn't really go the direction that I pictured it going in any sense, in so many different ways. And just being like, like a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of like standing up for the version of myself that I am now to that teenager, and like showing her how okay it is that, where I am, that I'm safe, that I'm happy, that, look at all of these incredible things that I do have. I know it's not what you thought. We thought we'd be, sipping martinis in Greece or, Rome or, like just going off, doing all the crazy things in the world and, living this party lifestyle and, just showing her like how beautiful this life is. And, going through all the hurt and the shame and the guilt of being a teenager. And like, there was I had this crazy experience in just like a shower portal the other day. I get to call Jeff afterwards and freak out because I was losing my mind. But like, I just stepped into the shower and was contemplating a conversation that happened earlier that day where it kind of brought up some inner teen things, and like literally like my reality spliced into 20 different parts of my life, and simultaneously I'm with different parts of myself or different times of myself where I was going through traumatic experiences, and a lot of them were teenager years where things were crazy and hard and traumatic and really fucked up. And I was just sitting with her as myself, sitting with that timeline and just like talking her through them and helping her get, survive those moments and, giving her love and advice and healing. It was really beautiful. And, I've had opportunities to make some really beautiful connections through this group. And one of them was visiting, and like, I had this really beautiful healing inner teenage moment. We were like listening to some like old Tool and Perfect Circle and some like, old emo stuff. And I had this incredible moment where like I'm like staring at my ceiling, listening to music, like vibing. And like there was a scene from like my teenage years kind of just like melded with my reality that I was looking at. And it was like, this love and this safety and this excitement and these like beautiful feelings that I felt as a teenager that I never thought I would be able to feel again. And I'm like, oh, I can feel that again. Like it's safe for me to feel that again. And like the inner teen journey has been so hard and so beautiful and so healing. Like it's wild.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Been a crazy couple months.
Been crazy over here as well. Like since August, I would say, like, just for the first time in like really my whole life, allowing myself to revisit my childhood and like try and process some of the things that happened. Like I have been running from that shit my whole life. Like it's just been hanging over me, and like finally in a place where I feel comfortable to talk about those things with people that I care about, and them holding space for me and allowing me to just say them out loud for the first time. That's huge. God, as soon as you get, your trauma out loud instead of in your head, there's just something powerful about that, or even if you're writing it down, I guess, whatever it takes to get it out of your mind, out of that hamster wheel of your mind, just get going, it does a lot for you. But yeah, no, I think inner child work has been a big theme for a lot of us these last few months.
It's hard work, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I was actually just today on another call for that class with a smaller group, and one of the girls, the reason why she came to be part of this training is because she was living her best life in New Zealand, and then her dad gets sick, and she basically has to leave that perfect life and come deal with her dad and all the drama and history they've had as he's possibly dying, and we were talking about it, and one of the other ladies was you know what, that's your actual spiritual work right there. That's your training, is to go back and deal with all of that stuff. And that's the hard, shitty work of being spiritual.
Yeah, man, that is a sink and a half right there. Just specifically the parents thing, or the realization that I cannot run from my heredity. You know what I mean? I've got to face that stuff. That's been a big thing for me, especially when it comes to thinking about taking care of my parents as they get older.
Well, and it's important to have a lot of grace for yourself, because you're probably the first person in the lineage to actually give a shit and try.
Yeah, true.
And that's, I think, true with all of us as a generation. My mom always says that she doesn't need therapy. I'm you need the most therapy.
So, yeah.
Because, anyway, so as a generation, boomers, I think, generally didn't deal with it and didn't have the tools either. It's not it's, they had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
It's not it's just, I'm not going to shit in the boomers, but so they had no idea, and they were coming from other fucked up histories. And so just to be, especially with myself, have a lot of patience with it, because no one else has been doing it for generations. And it does pass down, I think.
I pulled a tarot card at the beginning of this interview for our interview today, and I got the Fool, which is so perfect for everything we've talked about.
Relate.
Just from the beginning of your journey to now, the hero's journey, the Fool's journey, it fits perfectly where we're kind of all at now, especially with you, Rick. You're stepping into your new beginnings, and doing your inner child work helps bring back a sense of innocence, and going off on new adventures and new freedoms, new ideas, and you're just kind of living off you're off the cuff, living, what's the word, off the cuff, I don't know, but you're spontaneous again, and you've got all kinds of new ideas and new things. It's a joyful new card that feels like it fits perfectly for our conversation today.
I'm glad.
All your new projects and your new new goals, and you're putting together your own event, you're writing an album, you're really doing incredibly beautiful things. And I would definitely want to hear more about those.
Thank you. Is it, you mean right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Yes, I'm putting together I know. This is why I'm so good at self-promoting. Okay, so it's an event. It's called Rest Fest, and it's happening in April of 2024. Right now it's the 27th. And I mean, I think it's going to still be this 27th, but like we haven't officially locked down the venue yet, but I think the venue's perfect. Anyway, it's a wellness festival and expo. It's a festival retreat and an expo put together. So like, it's a lot kind of like the camp where you have things going on and you have vendors selling stuff, you know? So like one side is going to have a stage. It's going to be yoga people, breathwork people, sound bath people performing for a crowd, whoever wants to sign up. And then the other side of the venue is like vendors and demonstrations of people that sell crystals and, you know, sculptures and everything, all the stuff we did at the camp. And it's just that for me, especially in Richmond and probably everywhere, but like it's all really siloed. All the different people that do healing stuff around here kind of just talk to their own audiences on Instagram or whatever, or it's like word of mouth, you know, like there isn't like a central place where everyone gets together. So I want this to be a place for everyone to commingle and all the networking to happen for all the local healers, and then just everybody else that shows up can understand like what's going on in Richmond, because a lot is, and I think it's because a lot is going on everywhere. And you know, have it be a platform for everyone else to, you know, show off their stuff, and then have it be like a mini camp meetup, and then promote the next summer camp in August. And so like that's part of it too, but like that's really just from the community. And honestly, like just the idea of putting an event on is super exciting to me. Like the idea of having like a day and working really hard for it. And I want to do that stuff like way more. And that's, again, like that's me claiming the stuff that I was born with that I ignored for so long. Was like, I like performing. I like events. I like this part. Like I want to do more of this, and I don't care what you think, kind of thing. I don't want to have like a real job and do all that. And so as part of that, the album is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Like I've always loved music. Again, reclaiming just like, I love music and I want to do more of it, and I want to explore what I can do with it. So it's like a electronic ambient music for sound baths, really. And so the structure of the album is each chakra is a song. So it's starts in the key of C, ends in the key of B, and every song is like, 10 minutes, and it's only 7 songs. So like getting to have a nice structure down, and then just messing around with synthesizers and like I'm using Ableton. So like Charles helped me out a ton with it when we were at the camp. Again, another one where it was like, hi, I'm Rick. Hi, I'm Charles. Blah, blah, blah. I'm into Ableton. Oh my God, tell me something, like immediately like connected on something. But, so like just messing around with, synthesizers, and I'm like a motion designer is like my career. And then design has always been a thing I loved. And so like the idea of like, oh, this is sound design. Like I'm not really using music theory. Like I'm creating, kind of soundscapes and like environments, and like designing the sounds that come out is a really cool way to look at it. For me, it takes the pressure away. It's kind of like I'm just playing around. It's more childlike. Mm-hmm. It's more just like, oh, what's this tool? Oh, cool. Okay, cool. And then that's when I started cutting up the audiobook of Bringers of the Dawn, and then like making these longer songs that incorporate a lot of the stuff from the book in the voice of the author. And it comes across as this kind of almost like hypnotic meditation, but also like an audiobook. And the stuff that they say in that book, even though it was written in the 80s, is like, all of it makes sense right now. It's like totally fascinating. It's like all the stuff we're all going through with the inner child stuff and nervous system, and the idea that Earth is going through an awakening, and like we have to be there to help it along. like I ran from that for so long, and that's what I wanted. Like I just need to claim it.
Hell yeah. Do the thing, Rick.
We're all doing the thing.
Do the thing.
So, in your life right now, what are you most looking
Looking forward to traveling around the world doing sound baths at like killer places.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
But did you want like a concrete thing?
No, that's perfect, man. I just want to know what you're looking forward to in life right now.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in January, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like a cover my ass moment. Like I really am.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to sitting down across from you and having a chance to have just a conversation. You know, camp was great as far as getting to meet everyone, but it was really hard to find time to sit down and just talk to people. And I'm really looking forward to doing that with you, Rick.
Oh my God, man. That's right. We didn't really do that.
No, we have not yet. Looking forward to it.
This is another thing that happened at the ayahuasca retreat was, because it was during COVID, we couldn't leave the place. And I forgot that. And one day I was like, I'm just going to go to town. And like, cause I got bored, and they're like, you can't leave. Like we all got tested. Like you can't go anywhere because you might get infected. And so I got really pissed, just like internally, but like I didn't make a scene, but like it was this moment of like, oh my God, like I can't sit still. Like I really can't sit still. Even though I say that I can meditate and stuff. Like I actually, when I'm forced to stay somewhere, like it really bugs me. And that was a big, like another thing, like you were saying, Jeff, like is running from stuff. And you can still be doing a bunch of work, quote unquote, like taking psychedelics and like doing this and that. And it almost feels like it's an excuse sometimes to not actually do the work. And that was a neat realization I had. Anyway, I say all that stuff because I remember doing that in the camp sometimes. Like I would just always be moving around, not sitting still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. There's a lot of bouncing from hotspot to hotspot, saying what was going on. What are your socials? How can people reach you? How can people, what are you offering right now?
Man, nothing online so much.
Okay.
I'm in Richmond, but I am, okay, yes. I want to expand that, but website is thebell.garden. Instead of .com, it's .garden. So it's just www.thebell.garden. And then Instagram is the same at thebell.garden. Same with TikTok. And then YouTube is, I have one. It's at the Bell Garden. No period. But I haven't really put a lot of stuff up there yet. That was one more thing that happened to me. Real quick story. In 2020 was I was sitting in the bathtub, relaxing at night, and I had this music on, and all of a sudden, this just like image of a restaurant just unfolds in front of me in my head. Fully formed restaurant place. It's a bar that has yoga places inside of it and a stage. And the idea of like a dry bar situation with a bunch of wellness stuff happening in the back, and then like a place to perform, people would hang out, just like appeared in my head. And the name was the Bell Garden. It all came within like 2 minutes. It felt like an extreme like download. And that's where I got the name.
I love that, man. All right. Well, the final question we ask everyone on the show is there anyone you would like to see on Interviewing Aliens next?
Oh man. Jessa Reed.
Yeah, we'll see about that one.
I know. I'm trying to think. Is this like fictional or people that we know?
I'm interested what you mean by fictional.
I know, right? I guess like impossible.
What's impossible?
Orlando Bloom.
Oh, what?
Okay, Orlando Bloom.
We'll see what we can
Start
do.
sending some tweets. DM immediately on Twitter and be like, look, Rick said
Rick
that you
said-
have to be on the show. This is beyond my control.
Oh no, I just made it up. I was thinking about the Billie Eilish documentary, which was really great on Apple TV. And she ends up meeting him at Coachella and doesn't know who he is. And like hugs him, was like, cool, thanks for the, and because he was with Katy Perry and they both met. So like, she was like, oh yeah, Katy Perry's guy, whatever. And then later was like shown his Legolas picture. And she's like, what the fuck? I just bet on that. Oh my God. Like, it was really funny.
I have 2 affirmations for you, Rick, that just like have been yelling at me since we got on this phone call. And I want you both to, you can say them out loud, you can say them in your head, but say them often and say them to your heart and to your beautiful wife, your body. I'm a blessing. My life is a gift.
I'm a blessing. My life is a gift.
And I'm allowed to take up space.
I am allowed to take up space. That one feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Right.
But I'm so grateful for you for coming on today and for all that you've given to this community and will give and will be a part of. I can't wait to see you grow and shine and integrate into this beautiful space. And I love you.
I love you guys. This is beautiful.
Thanks for coming on, Rick.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Tiff.
Thank you.
Ever felt like you're wandering through a world that doesn't quite fit? Like you're a square peg being nudged into a round hole? Maybe you've caught yourself gazing up at the stars, pondering the mysteries that seem to slip through the fingers of conventional wisdom. Do esoteric beliefs resonate with you more than everyday chatter? Is there a voice inside you whispering that there's infinitely more to this universe than what meets our 3D eyes? If any of this sounds familiar, if any of these questions stir something deep within you, then you might just be the alien we're looking for. This isn't about being from another planet. It's about feeling like you're out of place in this one. It's about believing in the extraordinary, the spaces between. So tell us, do you feel that call, that pull towards something, somewhere that defies the ordinary? If so, welcome. Your mothership, Hot Alien Summer Camp, is calling you home. Are you ready to answer that call? To step into a space where your unique beliefs aren't just accepted but celebrated? Imagine a place where the extraordinary is the norm and the mysteries of the cosmos are the evening's main topic of discussion. A retreat where every workshop, every activity, and every shared meal is an opportunity to explore what lies beyond our conventional 3D experience. Did you find yourself nodding along just then? Feeling that spark of excitement at the thought of connecting with others who share your curiosity for the unknown? Then it's no coincidence you're hearing this right now. This is your invitation to join us, to become a part of a community that doesn't just ask the big questions, but revels in them. And what's a gathering of aliens without a little interstellar entertainment? Prepare to laugh with beings who understand your humor, as we bring you live comedy from cosmic minds of Ryan Singer and paranormal Karen Rontowski. Their insights and wit are as boundless as the universe, promising an experience that's as enlightening as it is hilarious. So, if you're ready to leave behind the world of round holes for a place where every square peg finds its place, a Hot Alien Summer Camp awaits. From August 8th through 11th in Lebanon, Tennessee, we're not just creating a retreat, we're forming a constellation of like-minded souls, each shining their unique light. Are you one of us? Are you ready to explore the depths of your alien soul among friends who understand that it's time to beat 'em up to Hot Alien Summer Camp? Your space in the cosmos is reserved. All you need to do is claim it. Visit hotaliensummercamp.com. Pre-sale tickets are on sale now. Let's embark on this cosmic journey together.